Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to United View. Welcome to another injury breakdown with the man himself, Dr. Andre. Dr. Andre, I'm not going to lie. First of all, I have to say I've been doing a lot of imitations of you in terms of I think I know stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm getting a good record because what's happening is a lot of injuries are happening. People are going down during the game. I have a little look and I'm saying he'll be fine. He'll run that off.
Yeah.
Half time, have a look. Then I've got bigger sorts of things where I'm like, few weeks, then I'm like, yeah, done. So I've learned a lot. So thank you for sharing your knowledge with me, and just put some respect on my name because I've learned a lot. Dr. Flex, yeah, Dr. Fleck. Ooh. Exactly. But we're here up at the clinic for another injury breakdown, and this one's on Joshua Zirkzee because his hamstring is gone. Well, it's there somewhere, got reattach it, etc. But we don't know if he's going to go for a full sort of reattachment of it. Yeah. But against Newcastle, hamstring gone, another one down. He's out for the rest of the season, which is probably just over a month and a bit, so sounds more dramatic, but he's out for the rest of the season. Hamstrings.
Yeah.
Hamstrings.
Yeah, I mean, hamstring it's always a tricky one because it covers two joints. So it starts in the hip, goes down across the knee. So it's a very clever muscle, not just simply one joint, but two. It's more than one muscle, the hamstring. It isn't one muscle, it's three muscles sort of blended together. So when you say hamstring tear, that covers a whole family of injuries. Different muscles, different zones, different depths. And you get the grade 1, the grade 2, the grade 3. We don't know which one it is at this point in time.
We don't know if he's had, a lot of players have been getting hamstring injuries this year. Saka had one. Yeah. Arsenal have had 3. Gabriel's now done his. Yeah. And Kai Havertz done it, and they all needed like surgery. That's
right. Yes, there's a zone in the hamstring called the T zone, and it's a particularly complex area, just where the tendon meets the muscle, where the forces are more complicated. So when you tear there, it is now seen to be advisable to do a small operation because it never seems to heal quite right. So surgery always involves more time out, but at the same time you get the chance to put healthy tissue against healthy tissue, which we know is good, instead of torn tissue against torn tissue, which is not quite so strong. So we'll know from how they treat him. If he's rushed for surgery, we know it's in the T zone, because that is now classically where you operate. If it isn't, if it's just going to take a bit of time, it's not so severe. It might be a tear in a non-crucial zone, which you're going to rehab, give it time and get better.
And the good thing, well, I say good thing, but you've got to try and find good out of the bad, right? We're near the end of the season, so the bad thing is that we're missing him for really important games at the time of recording. We've got a Europa League quarter-final. As this goes out, are we still in it? I don't know. I think we will be. So maybe he won't miss any games, but we may, I believe we will, go on to the semi-finals and the final, which would have been in May. But he's been ruled out for the rest of the season. But in terms of into next season, it's 3 months probably until the new season begins, and we don't know the extent as yet, but hopefully be back for pre-season, which will be end of July or mid-July, where they start coming back, and then they go on pre-season tour end of July. So middle of April to middle of July, about 3 months. So hopefully he should be all right with that. I'm looking at Saka again. His differences. I've got to see if he does even need surgery. If he doesn't, then great. Yeah. If he does, then he's still got a good 3 months to get back for pre-season, which hopefully can
again, the rehab is crucial. You've got to make sure that you don't want to rush someone back from a hamstring. It's too important. It's explosion. It's how you blast away. So if that's not right, the player's got no confidence. You've got to be secure that you can give it your all in the most explosive part of the game. So you don't rush someone back from a hamstring. It's just not worth it. They'll be back on the bench again very quickly, back in the rehab again very soon. So yeah, we'll find out, I'm sure, if there's no surgery on the table.
If there's no surgery, if he doesn't get surgery, he got injured at the time of recording in the last game, so that was at the time now about 3 or 4 days ago. Yeah. If there's no surgery, what are we usually looking at? Because he has been ruled out for the rest of the season, so they do know that he won't be back before. Yeah.
No surgery is around about 3 months.
No surgery will be 3 months.
Yeah, that's right.
That's already not good.
Yeah, but
jeez.
But you want him back.
So from now to the end of the season's already a month. So that's already 4 weeks. Yeah. With where they're saying but they haven't ruled him out for pre-season or anything like that. Just said he's out for the rest of the season. Yeah. But we could see one of those pictures where this has been so many of players this year. in the bed, foot up, surgery's just gone well.
Yeah.
Which we don't know yet.
That's right. They might want to further investigate the injury. They know what the injury is.
Yeah.
But they may think after a few weeks, actually, that's not quite rehabbing as we thought. Let's rescan and see if it is what we thought. So maybe some more data is needed down the line. So we'll give it a few weeks and see what he's doing. Once they talk about surgery, then you're looking at the 4 month out, aren't you? But for now, fingers crossed, it's just a minor strain, and we'll see him back in a few months.
When players are like running and they pull up or go down with the injury, sometimes there's this sort of in-between bit where they can run for a bit. How does that happen if it's like completely... I know they can't run for much longer. It's like, oh my God. But sometimes you get the proper ping and it's agony. It's, oh my God. Then there's the, I can feel something. It's not. And then they walk off and they're like, it doesn't feel quite right. And then you hear it's really serious, even though they were walking off, they were all right. Sometimes people try to use, were they, I know this is a different type of injury, but were they in a protective boot or were they on crutches? Were they walking by themselves? That's a great sign. How do you decipher with the early signs the difference of how long it's going to be? Or is that actually, that's not even really a true reflection? It's what happens after that. Yeah,
so basically it's the first week is crucial, where you sort of investigate the injury, get what data you can, start the earliest rehab if they can. If they can't respond to the earliest, most basic rehab, you have to go back in, investigate with more depth, and then see what the injury is. But just simply, as you say, you can sort of walk off with a bit of a strain, but lo and behold, it's the location more than the severity of the pain. Where
in the hamstring it is?
If it's in the worst possible, like a door, okay, if you smash a door in the middle panel, it still works fine, but knock it by the hinge, then that's just not, that won't close properly, whatever you do. So location is key.
Location. I do think that. And I've done my Dr. Fleck on it. I couldn't quite ascertain where it was. I haven't got the location pinned down, but I knew it was a bad one. But then similarly, Aidan Heaven, a slightly different injury. He did his ankle against Leicester and he sort of rolled it in a tackle and it looked really bad. It looked like he'd be out for the rest of the season, but he was back within 2 to 3 weeks back in the squad. He was back out a little bit with something minor, a little setback, little contact training, but he was back really quickly. So it doesn't necessarily mean the player's going to be out for ages if they were in agony or they were on crutches or they weren't on crutches. It's all about the rehab. Yeah,
it depends how you feel pain. We all feel it differently.
Some
people, they feel it, they're scared, they're frightened, they want it all weight off it totally. Others are more hardy and sort of push through. So you have to encounter different personalities in sports, in medicine in general. So yeah, it'll come down to scan and how we respond to the initial rehab. Does it work? Does it not work? Then you know roughly where you're going with that sort of injury.
Zirkzee, we are locked in. We need him back because he's starting to turn a corner. Dr. Andre, thank you for having us. We will be up at the factory, at the Oxford Natural Factory, where we can see a lot of the supplements in production and manufactured process. We're going to look at that into more depth. Of course, with Digest as well. Remember, scan the QR code on screen, subscribe to Manchester United, subscribe to United View if you haven't done so already, and using the code United View, you can get up to 70% off your Digest supplements. And if you're thinking Digest, what was it? Remember, right? The video that we did, the link is in the description to that, where we go into Digest and talk exactly about why it's so good for your gut, why it's so needed, whether you've got an unhealthy gut now and you need to work on it, or whether you actually have a healthy gut and you want to maintain that as well. So check that out as well. All the links are in the description below. Dr. Andre, see you again very soon.
Fantastic. See you soon.